I just share about this so that you have all the information. Also, the website we have for Caring Kind is caringkindnyc.org, as well as our helpline number 646-744-2900. If we do not have your email address, I ask you kindly to provide your email to me privately or just call the helpline so that we can include your information to our email. So today's meeting is fun activities for the person with dementia and finding time for yourself. Just quickly go over the agenda. I just provided a little introduction here. We're also going to have our wonderful colleague to present each stage, from early stage by Elizabeth Gronke, and also middle stage activities by Mary Ellen and Susan. On the late stage, we'll have Nancy to discuss this more. Lastly, we'll have Meredith to talk about other community resources that are available from our website and also other institutions' website as well. Also, lastly, Caring Kind provide a range of different services, including our 20-hour helpline number, which you can access all the registering meetings, as well as to inquire about resources, referral for neurologists, doctors, healthcare agency, as well as home care providers. If you have in-depth discussion about the situation that you are in, you can also request a social worker from our social work department. We can do this over the phone at this time, as well as through email, individually, as well as a family session. We have over 80 support groups in all 5 boroughs. If you would like to join one and connect with other caregivers, we highly recommend this wonderful resource to you. Just like today's meeting, we also have other education meetings from Understanding Dementia, legal financial planning, education meeting, as well as training for family caregivers and professional caregivers. We will not be able to provide further discussion about the disease as well as each stage characteristic today, but I will encourage you to join our education and training through the helpline to register. We also have something called New York City Medical Alert Wanderer Safety Program, which is a bracelet that we highly encourage people with dementia to have one. It is a no technology in embedded product, but it can be very helpful that we know 6 out of 10 people have dementia will wander. We lastly have Connect to Culture information that our manager, Meredith, will be here today and discuss this more later on. All right, so I am ready to pass along our stage to our first presenter, Elizabeth. All right, I'm going to make her the presenter. Hold on a second.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so I'm going to.
Great. Pretty soon I'll be able to share my screen with you. I'm so glad to see so many people here. Okay. Share. Can you hear me all right, everybody? Somebody say yes who can speak.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And can you see my screen? Should have just popped up.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So I'm very happy to be invited to this today. My experience with Caring Kind goes way back from before it was called Caring Kind. And I'm an art therapist, and I think what qualified me best for presenting today was the fact that I was a program manager of a social adult day program for about 10 years. And my experience in working with people with dementia goes back to about 20 years. So, and I was thrilled that this presentation is about having fun, because to me, that's one of the reasons I love my work is that I do find this work to be lots and lots of fun. So let's dive into early when you if you're caring for someone in the earlier stages of a disease process, you have a few advantages. And that is that possibly they have some more verbal skills and they might enjoy word activities and language activities. They also might have more manual dexterity and can do crafts and art projects and things that require fine motor skills. Another advantage is that maybe they have good problem solving skills still and like a challenge of a game and like the whole win or lose proposition. So those are the advantages. But as we know, there are also challenges that go with caring for someone in the earlier stages. Your main challenge is to ask yourself, what are their interests? What do they have mastery of? Because they have mastery of something, and it's sometimes challenging to tease out because it may or may not be what they did for their professional life, or it might be. And what makes them light up? What makes them lean in and show interest in something? So that's what my main challenge is when I'm meeting somebody in the earlier stages of how to engage them. And the thing I want to the point I want to bring home is to please remember what Fats Waller said. It ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. So keep thinking about that, because I think that's even more important than any individual activity that we can present you with today. So as I said, let their mastery be your guide as to what to present as an activity. Then set up some structure and then play the role of assistant to them. So I'm going to give you a few examples of people I've known over the years. The first example I want to give is a person who was a participant of our Social Adult Day program. She participated pretty well in our activities, but the main thing that made her light up was talking about food and especially pasta. She was from Italy. She said, I used to make pasta every day. And so I thought, man, what if I brought in my pasta maker and brought in the materials for her? And let's see what would happen. She wanted to do it, so I brought in the materials. And the way that I structured it for her was that I brought out 2 eggs, not the whole dozen eggs. I brought out the right amount of flour, 1 bowl, just made it really simple. I cleaned up after her every step of the way, but she knew what all those steps were. So I was there to assist her and to make it a little simplified. So that was the structure I gave her. So my tip regarding this example is to be ready to jump in and be ready to jump back, because she was, as you can see by this photo, just thrilled to be able to share her mastery with the day program. Next example I want to give is a private client that I had who was an artist and an art teacher. And he wanted an art therapist to visit him to be his art buddy. So we talked it over. We said, okay, let's set up a still life and draw side by side, because that's nature to you, right? Well, we set it up and he sort of froze up. He got self-conscious. He doubted his abilities. So I quickly pivoted. I said, I have some pre-cut collage materials here with me. What if we just do a collaboration and work on a collage together? And he jumped on it. And he showed his mastery by, I'm hearing some other stuff. Is everyone able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So he was able to become my teacher. He was showing me what compositions work well, and before I knew it, he was off and running, and as you can see, had his hands right on the artwork and was doing his own thing. So the tip there is to don't give up. If something you plan or something you think they're gonna like doesn't work, just try to let it go and try another angle. Try not to get hung up on a particular idea that you thought might work, because it may not. The next example, last example, is I had a hard time figuring out what to show you. This was another person in my social adult day program that I used to work at who was very verbal and very opinionated, and she used to be a seamstress. And so at one point I realized I'm going to bring in some clothing catalogs from my house and ask her what would look good on me. And she really enjoyed flipping through that catalog, pointing out what would work on me, what would not work on me. I would sometimes challenge her a little by asking her, why can't I wear that one? And she would tell me, oh, no, it's all wrong. And she would explain to me why it's all wrong. And she took great delight in telling me why a dress would not look good on me. And so she again was sharing her mastery and her understanding of fabrics and body types with us. And it became I would say, a very legitimate activity. So the tip there is to try to let go of outcomes and finished products. It's not about what you make. I didn't have anything much to show for that time and that activity, but it was still a legitimate project. I heard a really weird thing just now. So I'm going to go back to that picture and just share the idea that I'm not telling this group, try these 3 different activities with your loved one. Instead, I'm saying, think about what they love to do and give a little structure and support to it and become their assistant. Ask questions, get involved in it however you can. And that should be your guide. But I know you did come to this workshop with the hope of coming out of it with some new ideas of things you can do at home. So I did list some that, as was already mentioned, will be in a PDF. And so you don't need to write these down, but these are just some ideas. I think you saw an image of the last item, the ransom note poem, which is fun to do, a little labor intensive to cut out all those words in advance, but it can be an activity too. People who like to do stuff with their hands, there's lots of activities that can be done that are artistic or not artistic. And then the last category are games, things that people, oops, that was not what I meant to do, things that win or lose propositions that people enjoy. So the last slide is a reminder that it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can enjoy a little music. Each of us as presenters are going to be offering some, I don't know, a little something fun, since this is supposed to be about fun. So I thought you might like to hear this. I hope this works. I hope this works. If you want to move in your seat, if your camera's off, you can dance. Oh, it ain't what you do, it's the time that you do it. Ain't what you do, it's the time that you do it. Ain't what you do, it's the time that you do it. That's what gets results. You can try hard, don't mean a thing. Just take it easy, greasy. Take it easy. Then you jive with swing, 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 swing. Oh, ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. Ain't what you do, it's the time that you do it. Ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. That's what gets results. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I pass it on back to Serene. I think Serene might be frozen, so I'm going to pass it to Nancy and Susan.
No, Mary Ellen and Susan. Can you hear me, Elizabeth? Hi, Mary Ellen, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And all right. Thank you, Elizabeth. That was wonderful. I don't know
Mhm.
if anybody can see me. Um, so
Yeah.
okay. Oh, you can. You can see me, Susan?
No, I can't see you.
Oh, that's
Unfortunately,
right. Yeah, you're on a
my
phone.
crashed, so I'm on my phone now, so I can just see a few people. So
Okay.
forgive us ahead of time.
Uh, okay, yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today in this program, and thank you, Elizabeth. That was really wonderful. My name's Mary Ellen. I'm one of the program directors of Caring Kind. Caring Kind is a program that takes place at uh, Beginnings is a program that takes place at Caring Kind, and it offers, like, each session offers social, intellectual, and physical engagement, and um, we have a lot of joy, and it's really about the social connection. And it's really for early to mid-stage individuals that have Alzheimer's. And unfortunately, the program is suspended now because of COVID. And we understand that this is a really hard time for everybody with a loved one at home who's afflicted by the disease. So we would like to share one of the activities that we do in our program with you. We call it a brain teaser. It's something you can easily do at home, or if you engage with a group of clients, it works really well also. So we would like to have audience participation. So I'll let my colleague Susan speak now. She can tell you a little bit more about the activity, and I'll get ready to share it with you. All right, thank you.
Okay, so hello everyone, and again I apologize for my technical difficulties. So I'm going to try my best to stay as engaged as possible. So word activity that we do is a lot of fun, and as Mary Ellen said, it um, also very engaging. So it has to do with creativity, it has to do with engagement, it's fun, and we make it very conversational. So we usually start off our program doing a lot of discussions about the issues of today, and then we go into this word activity. So the word that we're going to use is miraculousness. And what we do is we have everyone try to take words out of this big word. So we select a word that's has a lot of vowels, and it's usually a long word, and to try to stretch the mind. So it's sort of like we do it as a muscle, working that brain like a muscle. So we want to challenge our clients and also make it fun. So we do this activity and we really recommend it to the audience because it's something that you can do on a one-on-one basis in engaging the person in a conversation so that they could feel that it's interactive. And you can also do it with your family. You can do it during celebrations. You can involve the children, and that way the client feels like they're a part of it. So the word we're going to use is miraculousness. And
No, oh, I'm
it,
sorry. Miraculously.
well, we said miraculousness, but whichever one is fine. And so we want this to be interactive with our audience so that you can really understand what we do and just challenge yourselves a little bit. So because I have my big computer screen, how we're going to do it is that we're going to ask the audience to type in words. Once Mary Ellen shows the word on the screen, take out,
I think it's shown now.
it's
Can
shown.
somebody?
Okay,
I don't
if
know
you
if
could just
anybody, if somebody can let us know, because I don't see. I can't see individuals.
Okay, Serene, if you could, because I'm on my phone, if you could, I'm going to try to see, I see where there's a chat where I will probably be able to read off the words, but I'll let you know if I can't. And then if you could just read it off to Mary, and she could write it on the on her sheet.
Yeah, so let me try this. Mary Ellen, can you share your screen one more time?
Oh. Let's see. Okay, one moment. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, so while we're together, just a little is that we, in engaging your client, loved one, we really suggest that you use a word where it has something to do with their life to make them feel like it's about them. And so we would say to use words having to do with people in their life, places that they've been to, their interests, their hobbies, conversation with them about, because that's how you start. That's how you would. Uh, okay, I think we have the word up. Okay, miraculously. Okay, are we ready, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, if everyone can see, Serene, is it visible?
Yeah, I can see it fine.
Okay.
Serene. Okay, so we would ask now at this time if everyone could just start, look at the word, take out the word that you from that, and then just type it. And we can begin now.
We
And
have,
so paste it a little bit of time into it to make it a little bit more fun and challenging. So let's say we're going to go for about maybe about 5 minutes. Okay, so let's start now. So please type your words in the box.
we have a lot of work coming in.
Oh,
Okay, let's see. I can't see it, Serene.
I think,
You could
yeah,
please, if you could please relate it to Mary Ellen.
definitely. All right, so we have
Oh,
Louis,
L.
Louis, Louis.
Okay.
We have Sly, Sly. We have Sail, Sail.
that's great.
I,
Okay.
I have Car, Car.
Oh,
I,
actually, now, Serene. So I'll
yeah,
I'll take over. Great, thank you.
no problem.
Hey, that's great, everybody. Keep it coming. That's great. Callous is another word. Excellent. Lousy. Okay, very good. Claims is another. Okay, we're going fast. Racy. Okay, you. Okay, I get my drop down list. Uh, okay, Myra. Okay, we'll include, we don't usually do names, but we'll include it for today. That's great. Now my phone is kind of small, so it's not picking up all of the words. So Serene, if you could chime in.
Okay,
I think I got
sour.
the last one.
Okay, I got sour, Sour.
Okay, great. I got your, got rail, and I got rally. This is great, guys. Okay, curious. So you see how this is geared towards our clients and our loved ones, but it's a good exercise for us too. Okay.
I have soul.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. And we usually, with this exercise, we can get up to about 70 words with our clients. That's just how engaged they are. Okay, I have us, US, and I have Brit. And we usually add some extra rules to it to tell them at least 3 words, and just to make it a little bit more challenging.
Letters, 3 letters.
Right, 3 letters. Right. Okay. Slum.
I have silly.
Okay.
What was that word? Silly?
Silly.
Silly.
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe we can go for maybe another minute and a half. Let's see if we could get
I
maybe
have
Here's the list so far.
about how many we have. Okay, that's great, guys.
We have about 25 words so far.
Okay, so let's go for maybe like 5 more.
I have air.
Okay. That's great.
I have soul.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you also have slur?
Oh, no
And
slur.
yeah, roll. We have sir. That's great. I think, is that 5 more words? And
Out.
ally.
Oh,
A-L.
that's a good one.
Yeah. And army.
Oh, no, ally.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So, do we have about 30 words now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, this game, as I said, is very engaging and it's very challenging and it involves teamwork. So, we have our clients together, sharing each other, also correcting because it helps also when we have one of our clients who we call the word master, and he's usually our word checker. So it's giving them that empowering being able to show words needed, and they can give a lot of their input. So one of the things that we add on to this activity is to turn it into making it into a short story or make sentences out of these words. So if anyone is up for the challenge, and I can see that you all are, if you could type in like short sentences, including some of these words. Ray is another word we have. So you could just type in your sentences into the chat box.
I'll minimize the words so they all fit.
Okay.
That so everyone can see all of the words now.
Okay. That's great. Ah, that's wonderful. I as a fox. There you go.
Oh, what was the sentence?
Fly as a fox.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, wait, I missed that one. Okay, that one went by me too fast. Serene, if you could catch that last one, that was a nice long sentence.
Right. It's that Sly Lewis claims you are racy and silly.
That's great. See, part of this is being creative also. So you're really, thinking outside the box. So that's something that's really great. Sir, you are so curious. That's fantastic. Okay, the cow car sails to, I didn't get the last word.
The
Okay.
callous car sells to Aslam.
Yeah.
Slum.
Um, and someone said a slum.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, Diane. Thank you, Diane.
Callous car. What was that last sentence?
A slum.
No.
Okay.
What was the whole sentence?
Yeah, that was the whole sentence.
No. No. What is the whole sentence? I
So let
didn't.
me
I didn't get any of it. The callous.
Oh, the
the
callus car. Okay, I didn't get that on my phone. Serene, if you could read that
sure,
one.
no problem. The callous car sells to a slum. No, sells,
Oh,
S-A-I-L.
sales. Okay.
Else.
Great.
That's
Usually when we do this activity with the clients, we have a big dry erase board that's easy to see from a distance. We have about 12 participants in our program. But if you're doing this one-on-one or with your family, you can just write out the word on a piece of paper or
yeah,
do it on the computer like we're doing now.
exactly. And again, this would be a fun activity to involve the whole family in. And you could use a little blackboard if you have it. You could put up a big sheet of paper against the wall, and it's really fun. It includes everyone. So we like to do it where we're actually also spotlighting, we call it, our clients. And what we do is we want to make all of our clients feel special. And so we make this really personalized. And so we will talk about something about the client, maybe something about their career. And so we integrate this also because we want to tell their story and make them feel special. So it's all about being creative, being nostalgic, talking about their story, their life, and it's a lot of fun and it's really engaging. And so what's also important is that when the caregiver is doing it with the client, that the caregiver get involved just as much. So the caregiver should also pick out words from this, and it makes the person feel that you're really having a conversation and you're having a good time and you're really engaging them and you're empowering them all at the same time. So
Exactly. Like I don't recommend just writing the word down and handing it to your loved one to do it on their own. I think it's definitely something that needs to be together. And also, it's also fun to, or you might find that they're not engaging and they're not finding any words. So we like to give off clues. When we see the words and we might say. You know, oh, something is amazing because we see miraculous there. Uh, so that can start to, engage them also with the clues. It helps a lot. And it's also fun to think up the clues together.
yeah, yeah, we really have a ball with that. And so, so we have some great sentences there, which is really, great. And again, using a word, we use it with a lot of vowels, and about saying something that is miraculous about the times that we're living in right now. And so that sort of starts off a conversation, because sometimes if we have a client that's very quiet, very reserved, we try to sort of do things that are engaging to bring conversation. Okay, so thank you so much for your participation in this exercise. Everybody was really fast in giving answers, so we really appreciate that. So we'd like to close off our activity while we're talking about the subject of self-care with a caregiving meditation. So if everyone that's in this space could just sit back and make yourself comfortable. However it is where you can sit back and be reflective, please do so. If you'd like to plant your feet flat on the ground, your hands down at your sides, and your eyes closed. Okay, everyone. Okay. This is a caregiving, loving kindness meditation that I wrote especially for this group. And it's a guided meditation. At the end, I would ask that that I will be silent and give you a moment to just be silent with yourself. As caregivers and professionals working with the dementia population, we are caught in mental and emotional cycles that conjure up many feelings: fear and concern about the unknown, impatience, resentment, annoyance, burnout, sense of failure, hopelessness, loneliness, and bittersweet moments and memories. These feelings are magnified by what we're experiencing today, including the issues of health and human rights. For this space we're in right now, I invite you to take a pause and bring your focus to awareness of your breath and to be present with your breath. Starting from the top of your head, inhale slowly, hold the breath, and exhale. And as you inhale, ongoing, breathe in awareness and exhale positivity, patience, vitality, dedication, resilience, strength, love, kindness, and compassion. Breathe from your head down, going into your temples, relaxing your body. If you feel any tension, please concentrate on that area and inhale slowly and exhale slowly. And you should begin to feel some relief. So going down to your chest, going down to your shoulders, relaxing your shoulders. Sometimes when we hold our shoulders up tightly, that's due to tension and stress. So relax your shoulders, allowing your breath, inhaling, holding, exhaling slowly, allowing it to go through your arms, to your hands, and to your fingers, and then to your stomach, where a lot of times we feel the most tension. Concentrating on your breath as you're inhaling and exhaling. Continuing down to focus and be aware of your breathing through your hips, through your thighs, down onto your calf, to the front of your leg. Continuing to breathe slowly, inhaling, holding, and exhaling. And then down to your ankles, to your feet, and to your toes. And I invite you to reframe those feelings that you may have and think about yourself, the care that you deserve because you are the provider of love, care, and kindness. Being and compassionate with yourself. Thinking about what keeps you going every day. Thinking about as you continue to breathe, inhaling, exhaling, and relaxing. Thinking about the strength of your spirit. Remembering what you love about yourself. and what you love to do to bring yourself peace, happiness, calm, and joy. I allow you to focus. I'm asking that you focus on these positives and bring that awareness as you slowly inhale and exhale with softness and care in silence for 1 minute. I thank you very much. Bring yourself out slowly at your own pace, continuing the softness of your breath as you inhale and exhale, and slowly opening your eyes and returning to this space where we are right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, Marianne. This is a wonderful moment that we can learn something and also we can relax after that. Now I'm pass the stage to Nancy Henley, our dementia care trainer, to share with us something more on the late stage care. Nancy?
Thank you, Serene, and thank everybody who's presented. Wow, now I'm really calm. I wasn't exactly before that. I'd like to encourage you all to go to our website and look under the COVID-19 resources. I've made about 12 videos of activities for people to do with their person with dementia, and those activity videos cover many of the stages, and I think it's a really good resource, as the website is for the Beginnings program, where you can see some other activities to do for the Connect to Culture program, which is coming up next for us as well. So do tune into those videos. Today, I'm going to talk to you about late stage activities, which are pretty different than the activities we talked about earlier today, because by the time a person gets into late stage, a lot of their cognitive facilities have declined, and their physical ability to move around is also changed. There are changes in their ability to see things from far away, let's say. So most of the activities that we're going to do with the person with dementia have to happen much closer, like within an 8 to 10 inch range. I decided last night, because usually I do sleep on things and all my plans change, but last night I decided that I thought we would do an exercise that I do with my dementia care training classes, both for the professionals and for the family members. And I'm hoping that you have a piece of paper and a pencil, old school that I am. If you do not have a piece of paper and a pencil, I am giving you a moment to rush around your home and get up, to get a piece of paper and a pencil, because this will just work better for you if we do this. A lot of the exercises that I present, I try to put into the body of the caregivers so that we can understand what's going on with the person with dementia a little better. So this is kind of a pretty easy quiz, and it may be actually even better since we've had this meditation, because I think what's going to come to you is going to come to you very easily now since you're in a calmer state. So what I'd like you to write down, because we're going to concentrate on the senses, you know, the person is really not so hot with doing word games and things like that anymore, but they are very sensually aware. So most of the things that we're going to present have to do with the senses. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what kinds of things do you like to look at? That's the whole question. What do you like to see? Do you like to look at landscapes? Do you like to look at your grandchildren? What do you like to see? Just for you, not for the person with dementia, what you like to look at. And you can write down a few things. It doesn't have to just be one. My next question is, what kinds of things do you like to listen to? What kind of music? Do you like to listen to the birds sing? Do you prefer jackhammers? Okay, no, all right. What kinds of things do you prefer to listen to? Things that really feed your soul, right? So I'll give you a moment to write that stuff down. What kinds of things do you like to eat? What are your favorite things to eat? I'll give you a little longer to write that, because most of us have a pretty long list of what our favorite flavors are, the kinds of things that we like to eat. The next place we're going to is, what kind of things do we like to smell? What scents do we like? What kinds of things bring back memories? Like, for me, it's like rain on the sidewalk. I love the smell of that. It can be very subtle, but you know, a couple of scents that are pleasing to you, that bring you a sense of calm. And the next one we're going to look at is, what kinds of things do you like to touch? What feels good to you? I have a friend that goes to the grocery store and touches all the green peppers. Go figure. What kinds of things feel good to you? What is satisfying to your hands? You know, your child's hair, that sort of thing. What is it that really, what really brings you pleasure? And I'm going to throw in a last thing, which is, what sort of things do you like to do? What kinesthetic things in your body do you like to do? Do you like to dance, or, you know, swing in a hammock? What is it that your body likes to do? Run, exercise, those sorts of things. What makes your body feel really, really good? Okay. How are we doing? Are you guys okay? Did you really make a list, or are you just faking me out? If you really make a list, it'll work better. Okay. This thing works much better if you actually do the thing. So I'm going to go through a little bit of what my stuff is, not because I'm really selfish, but that's up for question. But because I'm going to show you where you can access those images and things like, and musical resources and things like that, so that you can access them for the person with dementia. Before we start though, I just want you to take a moment to know how your body changed when you started to call up those images, when you started to remember, oh yeah, this makes me feel good, right? Oh yeah, I love to look at that, right? Those things, when we can bring those things to ourselves, can be a moment of self-care, okay? I love to look at the ocean. Do I look at the ocean very much? I'm in Queens, okay? I can't go to the beaches right now, right? But for my visual, here's what we got. So if I'm in late stage dementia and I'm confined to my bed, please bring me images of the ocean because I'll feel good just having the image of it. Now, for other people, it might be their grandkids. Here we have a twofer. This is a grandkid and an animal. Sometimes people want to look at animals. This image came from a calendar that someone made for me. You can also make images yourself off the internet and make a book for a person. These are very simple images. If you want to see how this book is made, once again, go to the COVID-19 resources on our website and you'll see the very simple way of making these images. But you can kind of tell, like, hey, if I'm, sitting in my wheelchair or whatnot, and you bring me this lovely image of ice cream, and then you really deliver some, that's a pretty good thing. Having this kind of thing with you can be really good, because if I'm laying in bed and there's not much to do, at least I have something lovely to look at that is specific to me. So the person loves animals. I think you get the idea. This one's really easy, it's very inexpensive, and it can be very helpful to the person. So that's looking at things. Last night, as I was continuing my research, I went online and I found this thing called Puppy Love on YouTube. Puppy Love on YouTube is 2 hours of puppies. It was really hard for me to rip myself away. I'm not kidding you. They're really cute, right? So you can find cute puppies, cute kitties, cute babies, although the baby things are a little weird because, like, people do weird things. Anyhow, you can find cute babies. You can go to the store. Maybe your person really likes looking at little children. You can go get or order on Amazon picture books of babies so that they have something to look at and to hold in their hands. This relating to the screen thing, I can tell how I feel about it just by the way that I say it, but there's a lot that happens on the screen, and I think that's great. In this era of COVID, it's irreplaceable. People need things that happen on the screen. People with dementia, especially toward the later stages, need something in their hands. They just do better, okay? So that was looking at things. Does the person like to look at flowers? I keep going here. Well, bring them a flower. It doesn't have to be the whole bunch, but it has to be sitting near them, like I remind you of, okay? Because if this is, 3 feet away, I, as a person with dementia, cannot see it. I have to be right here. It has to be close to me, okay? Yeah. If I want to look out the window, if I used to like, as Elizabeth pointed out, what is the person's interest? This is really, really important. If I used to like to watch birds, can I get a bird feeder and throw it on my windowsill? Can the person sit and watch birds? How nice is that? Nature can be really soothing for people in any stage of the illness. So I'm going to move on to hearing. And let's see, what was I thinking with the ocean? Oh, well, I mean, I really can't hear the ocean here, but if you open up my window, you can hear the traffic going by, especially on a rainy night, and it sounds exactly like waves. So if it's a rainy night and there's traffic going by, open the window and let me listen to those waves, because I'm gonna maybe interpret that as the ocean. Music that you loved, music, religious music. Write this down, everybody. You got a pencil in your hand, write down the Alzheimer's store. okay? The Alzheimer's store is a resource online where you can get many products that can be really wonderfully helpful. They have a one-touch radio where you load a lot of music into the box itself, but the person with dementia touches one button and that music goes on. And when they lift it or put it down, I don't remember which it is, it goes off. And you set the volume. So this can be a really good tool. Music when things are difficult, calming music when it's bath time, you know, peppy music in the morning, yay. All right. I'm reading my notes. When I thought about what I really like, at the beach, great, but at home, even better, is I like to be read to. All right. Reading is a wonderful activity for people throughout this illness. Okay. For a long time, many people can read. They may need larger type. They may need Reader's Digest type articles, or just an article from something that they used to like to read. But either they can read it or you can read it together. Reading is a perfect activity for both of you to share. In late stage, you may be the person reading to the person, but how lovely for you to be kind of massaging the person with reading. Okay, so reading is a really valuable resource. It came to me because it is one of my favorite things that my husband does to me, right? He does reading, we do reading together, and it's just a wonderful thing, which sent me to buy a New York Times this morning, okay? Now, why do I like the Times? Because I like to read, but I also like how it feels, and I actually like how it smells. Okay, and I really miss it because I've been doing it online, but I'm getting off track here. Back to sound. I want to make sure I cover everything. There are calming nature sounds, ambient music. You can do all of those things with a person in late stage. We want to make life great for them. They're pretty much stuck in one place or two places. We want to give them something that's lovely. Taste for the beach. Of course, I'm not drinking now. Fish tacos for me. But what does the person like to eat? Can you eat something together with them? Can you vary the food? Can you make jello of a different flavor, pudding of a different flavor? Can they help you? Because even in late stage, a person can stir that banana pudding up, right? And put bananas on it or something. They can participate in that way. By late stage, it's very difficult for people to participate, but it's not impossible, right? I'm just going to jump into the religious piece right now because a lot of people become more religious as they get older. They may have practiced religion a long, long time ago. If they did, by all means, provide the religious music, the religious services on tape. Religious articles that they can hold. I remember giving my mother a rosary, you know, when she was pretty bedbound. And for her, I know that was an item of comfort because she did that for all of her life. That's the other thing that you can do with a person is do reciting prayers. We're almost there. Did I do it? We did. We see, we feel, we hear, we taste, we touch. Did I miss something? No? If I did miss anything, call me up. I'm here, you know. The Alzheimer's store, I'm going to back up to the Alzheimer's store, sells something for people in late stage. This is called an activity apron, okay? Mine is really jazzed up because I've had it for a long time, and I've added a lot of stuff to it. This is basically something that a person can touch, different textures, different things to hold on to touch. It is an apron, so it can be tied on so that you're not handing people things and they're dropping them, okay? It has a lovely pocket which gives us lots of things to look at, right? Maybe even cards from people, right? So we can read the card to the person. How nice. Pull out all that stuff under your couch where you're hiding all the cards from whenever. Have the person with dementia and you go through those cards. What are they full of? They're full of connection. They're full of love, right? So the activity apron, plug the Alzheimer's Association, and are we ready to end with me? Are we ready? Have we had enough? Okay, good. So I'm going to end on this very happy note. You can get these at your drugstore, and a lot of people in a lot of stages of dementia like these things. When I worked in a day center, the middle stage people really dug this stuff. Very easy, cheap thrill. Okay. And I'm just going to close and say that times are tough. You caregivers are doing an amazing job. I really mean that. Anything that you can do to enhance the person's life by picking up activities, I know it's extra, but it may actually enhance both of your lives. Thank you all for the really good work that you do.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. All right, we're going to pass to our last presenter, Meredith Wong, and she's going to help us to learn more about outside resources from Caring Kind, also from other institutions. Meredith.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for all of my colleagues who have shared so many resources that all of you as caregivers can do at home. That is the idea, is that all of these activities that we've heard about today, and there are many more, use the resources that you have at home. You're not having to chase around materials to do any of this. So, and you can also be flexible about the materials that you're using. So what I'm here to talk about is Caring Kind's Connect to Culture program. And if this works right, great. Slides up. So Caring Kind's Connect to Culture program, just very briefly for those of you who don't know, is a program that started fairly within the past 3 or 4 years. While I've been here, it was around kind of in a skeletal version a couple of years before that. But really what I've tried to do with it is to grow the numbers and the types of cultural programs that are made specifically for caregivers and the people in their care. So what's on the screen now is basically a screenshot of a partnership that I did with Orpheus Chamber Orchestra, who has been a cultural partner for 2 years. They and Connect to Culture created a program where we brought their musicians, some of their musicians who were specifically trained for doing this type of program, to the Brooklyn Museum and to the Hebrew Home. And it was so successful that they've now taken it on to create their own program called Orpheus Reflections. And this is just one of some of the live music programs that are happening now. So you'll see I've just put a few bullet points about Connect to Culture and really what we do. It really builds awareness for families who are impacted by dementia. It builds awareness for the needs of you as caregivers and also for the person with dementia. The staff and the volunteers and everyone who is part of that cultural organization really needs to know what you're looking for and what you need from them. So we really rely on the feedback of caregivers and the people with the disease. We also continue to help organizations to transition from in-person programs to virtual programs. And of course that happened in mid-March, when many, if not all, of the cultural organizations closed their doors, most temporarily. What I've heard is that they hopefully be up and running and be able to maybe let in a few visitors at a time, either by the end of the summer or beginning of the fall. But again, it's a learning process for everyone, and we want to give people to feel safe, a time to feel safe and comfortable going back into public spaces. In the meantime, programs that may have been created for in-person experiences at these organizations have tried to be converted into virtual experiences online. It was a very big learning curve. It still is, but there are a few programs that are out there that have started to implement either live stream programs or pre-recorded self-guided programs. So going back to one of the programs that is trying to go virtual, they're still kind of thinking about ways to do it, is a program that we did with Orpheus Chamber Orchestra, that same orchestra that we partnered with a couple of years ago. And so through that partnership, we created a Connect to Culture program called With Music in Mind. And this is it's a fairly simple format program. It's one that brings musicians as part of either large orchestras or medium and small sized orchestras into community settings. There are a couple of companies that do kind of at home private concerts. This one, I'm going to show you a little snippet of a short documentary that we did about the partnership with Orpheus. And this you can also find online on the Connect to Culture webpage.
Music goes beyond cognition. Music has the power to really transport us and to change our mood and to stimulate memory. And we know that the part of the brain that is receiving music stays intact well into the disease. Even when people look completely unresponsive, they're still able to respond to music.
Welcome to the training from Connect to Culture's program at Caring Kind. This is actually the beginning of the process of going into the performances in May. So thank you for being here and participating. Connect to Culture is an initiative started by a woman who was a caregiver, and she recognized the value of the arts in engaging this particular population. Live music is a realm that we're just breaking into, and so Orpheus very serendipitously had been thinking about wanting to be more in the community.
As an orchestra, we're always talking about our audience, but we never talk about the people that can no longer attend our concert. So the audience we don't have. The Alzheimer community, the Dementia community, it's an audience that's being neglected, that doesn't have access to classical music, and I think we have a great chance to change that. Hello, everyone.
So I don't have time to play it all, but again, you can find this, as you can see, on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube, or you can find a link on our website. I would encourage you just to, if you want to see how families who are impacted by dementia respond to music in a public space like the museum or in a residence like Hebrew Home, it gives a good visual on what that might look like. I would also like to kind of highlight a webinar mini-series that I started to do pretty soon after Caring Kind had to close its doors for COVID. So this is a webinar mini-series that is called Cultural Exploration at Home. where I basically have invited members of our cultural partners to speak about their online resources. And their resources vary from, again, the self-guided pre-recorded programs like Lincoln Center Moments. Lincoln Center Moments has a private website called Lincoln Center Moments at Home. And if you email them, you can probably get access to it. And it's great because it combines videos, pre-recorded videos of musicians or performing artists that they have in their pool, who either perform, do programs based on the spoken word, and then that's kind of followed up either by a hands-on activity that they'll kind of guide you through at home through video and or written instructions. They will also include a list of conversation starters or ways to kind of pique interest between caregivers and basically anyone in your household together with the person with dementia. And these programs are really meant to be for everyone in that household, not just for the person with dementia. Lincoln Center, being Lincoln Center, they also have many other resources, recordings of concerts from several years ago that are just kind of really great to be able to see and listen to at home. Again, you see Arts and Minds here. That's another one of our cultural partners. Some of you may know about them already. They implement a program at several different New York City cultural organizations, including the Metropolitan Museum, El Museo del Barrio, the Studio Museum in Harlem, and they're starting to do things outside of New York as well. They actually have English programs in English as well as programs in Spanish. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to do more Spanish language programs as we try to expand Connect to Culture. I know there's a great need for it. So really, as a closing experience, I'd like to introduce a video that was made in the Brooklyn Botanical Garden, I believe after they closed. It was done by a filmmaker. I believe it was commissioned by the garden. And it's basically a walk through the cherry esplanade during the peak time of the cherry blossom season. Of course, unfortunately, no one was able to see it in live because they had already closed the garden. But this is a wonderful resource. I think it's a 21-minute video of just the gardens, and I can play a little bit for you. You might want to turn up the volume on your computer because really it's just the nature sounds. There's no narration. There's no one speaking over the sounds. The idea is that you have the visual of the garden as well as the sounds of birds singing and the wind. So please enjoy. So I could let that run on and on because it's so peaceful, but I want to leave time for question and answers for our presentation. So thank you so much for joining us. I just wanted to say that to really tag on Nancy's discussion of sensory experiences, and this is just not for people with late stage, but for people along the whole spectrum, along the whole process of Alzheimer's. That sensory experience is so key in supporting those connections that you have with the person you're caring for, and vice versa, and the connections that really the whole household can use to connect. Whether it be music, it be natural sounds, it can be art, it can be walks through the botanical garden. I'm working with the New York Pops Orchestra to continue doing programs for people with dementia and their caregivers. So it's really activating their experience through it can be multi-sensory experiences. With Nancy mentioned having a flower. So not only can you touch that flower and feel kind of maybe how leathery those leaves might be, how delicate the petals are, but you can also smell it if it has some scent. Again, that scent is a very strong trigger for some people to maybe remember a garden they used to tend or one that they used to see from the back of their house. So the idea is to bring all of the senses into this experience to really activate their immediate space, whether they're mobile or not mobile, verbal, not verbal. There are ways to connect through these ways. So thank you very much, and I will pass it back over to Serene.
Great. Wow, that is a lot of great information that we have learned today through different stages and also resources that are available in our community. Now I'm open up the rest of the time to welcome any question that our audience may have for any of our presenters or any burning issues or question or situation that you are in and you want to get some support in that area. And you can unmute yourself if you want to talk, or you can type that to the chat box. I think I'm pretty diligent to check our chat box, but I don't see any question being posted there. If I miss anything, you can definitely unmute yourself and tell us what's in your mind.
How do you tell if agency is really a reputable agency? Like you can go online and you can see that there are several different agencies and resources that you can pull from. However, like sometimes they'll call and they'll say, well, you left your information. How do I know that that really is the person? How do you vet that? What kind of questions should they not ask you? Because I'm trying to get services for my loved one as a caregiver, but I'm also wary about giving out their information. I don't know how much is too much.
Okay, so your question is when you call to certain agency, how much information you feel comfortable to share with them, right? Or not to share with them?
I don't know how much. I don't want, like social security numbers, or is it Medicaid numbers? Because I know you got to give them intake information, but I don't know where that information is going to go, if it's going to go on somebody's desk, if somebody else is going to get it, if somebody will call when I'm not there, if, that kind of information. I don't know what to do.
Right. I believe each agency have their privacy regulation, and they should not share the clients, the callers' information publicly. For most of the agencies for the service that we just described today should not request those personal information. If you call Lincoln Center, if you call those museums for for registration, for workshops, they should not be asking those questions, right, Meredith?
Yes. The most that they will ask you for is your contact information. So phone number, email, and your name. If you register for a specific program, they might ask you, is there anything that they that would be helpful for them to know in implementing the program? Are there any, are there any special interests that the person you're caring for has or had? They might be able to capitalize on that, but they won't ask you for medical history. They're not allowed to ask you for medical history, your personal social security. If they do, I would hang up and call back the main number and ask to be connected to someone in access programs.
Great.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have two questions on the chat box. One is from Chris, that my mom lives in a nursing home. Do you have any advice that might help with phone conversations? Any presenter can chime in on that question? Any suggestion for phone conversation for person that in a nursing home?
Phone conversations can be really difficult for a person with dementia because without the visual cues of being able to see who they're talking to, sometimes they have a very, very difficult time connecting. If it's possible to have a FaceTime call, that can be helpful. But I think it's a lot to expect that the person with dementia will actually be able to orient toward a phone call when they can't see the person.
Also, another idea, am I unmuted? Yeah.
Yes.
Is if you're comfortable with it, try singing with them or singing to them. But you know, that whole hello, how are you? That sort of cyclical, going nowhere conversation. Maybe a song could be a way to connect if you're a person likes songs and if you're brave enough.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Someone else? Yeah, what I would also suggest, what helped with me with my mom when she was in a nursing home, is that I would read to her some of her favorite Bible verses, or you could talk about some. I would talk to her as if she was still maybe cognizant her of her life. So I would talk about updates with the family. I would just talk about things that are happening with the children or things that you're doing, because you don't know exactly how they may not be responding to certain social cues, but what they're taking in is something that I think it's important to still converse with them about. So I think just talking about everyday life, talking about what you're doing, talking about what's happening at home, reading to them, reading their favorite stories. I would even write letters to my mother and I would just read to her and say, Mom, this is what I wrote about you. This is what I feel about you. So it's that having that connection and then looking at things that your loved one was interested in and sort of talking about that as something that was a memory.
I would actually also add on to that. Those are great ideas. And if you're able to do a FaceTime or a visual call with the person you're caring for, combine the family updates with photographs. So the person that you're talking about is Cousin Mary, and Cousin Mary just graduated with her PhD in health sciences. Isn't that wonderful? Or Cousin Larry, he's gone off to sail the ocean blue. So so the storytelling aspect of it, together with the visual, is something that it's a combination that often works. It doesn't work all the time, but I think if you can combine those two things, a verbal and a visual, that often helps make those connections. And even if that person doesn't make the connection, it's still kind of a nice story. It's just a memory or a story they're enjoying listening to.
Great. We have another question here from Joyce. Any suggestion to help distract or refocus the person with moderate dementia who becomes angry? Nancy?
I'm sorry, you said distress?
Yeah, no, distract.
How to distract a person?
Or refocus the person.
I think that's a really good communication question. And I think that, you know, when we do a meeting on communication or talk about communication, basically what we're going to have to do is meet the person where they are if they're really upset about something, and have a pretty good discussion about why they're upset about something before we move on to something else. So I think distraction is definitely a tool, but we really need to be able to really understand where the person is and let them know that we understand exactly where they are before we can move to, oh, look at these brownies or whatever, because lots of times the brownies are going to end up somewhere else if we don't, if we aren't able to make that connection with the person before we distract, and look for the reasons why the person is upset and hopefully make the person calmer because we know why they're upset. But that's a lot of communication stuff. Good question. And communication meeting is coming up really soon.
Great. I just posted a website to our education and training meeting schedule. You can go to our website and check that out further as well, as Nancy mentioned. Okay, so I can see that right now our time is slightly over, only 6 minutes over, but we are very, very glad that we have this time to share with over 40 audience today. And as I promised earlier, that we will email the link and also a PDF files contain all the resources that we discussed and something more to it, so you have access to it later on. One last thing I want to mention is that this webinar was able to provide it through Caring Kind. It's because we have a sponsor from 305 West End Assisted Living Program. So we also want to thank them to support us as well. Okay, so I really enjoyed today's meeting and I hope that we can stay in touch. Call our helpline, reach out to us. We are here for every one of you. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, our presenters. Thank you.
Thank you. Safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.